My son's special needs teacher made a post, ranking all her students by how close they are to being normal, so I posted a ranking of my own. I found out because my friend Denise is a teacher in a private Facebook group called Teachers Who Need Wine, where teachers complain about admin and parents and burnout. She called me at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. I need to send you something. Don't freak out. My phone buzzed. Screenshot a post from Yasmin O'Connor, my son's teacher. The woman who smiles at me every morning and tells me how much progress Oliver is making. The post was titled Honesty Hour, my SPED class tier list. She ranked every child in her special ed classroom by how close to normal they were. Número 1. Sophie could almost pass as normal if her face didn't look like that. Número 4. Jalin. Parents keep asking for accommodations. How about I accommodate him into a dumpster? Number 8. Twins Mia and Maya. Double the chromosomes. Double the burden. And then no. 11. Oliver. My son. Basically a potato. Will never function. Mom brings him in every day, like he's going to magically wake up one day and be normal. Feel bad for the siblings, who have to grow up with this anchor around their necks. The comments were worse. You're going to hell. But I'm right there with you. Eli's parents act like he's going to Harvard. Sir. He can't even wipe himself. Sophie's mom asked me about college prep the other day. I almost choked. These for teachers laughing about children who can't defend themselves. I read it until my vision blurred. Then I screenshotted everything. Drop off the next morning was the hardest thing I've ever done. Miss O'Connor was standing at the classroom door. Good morning, Oliver. Ready for a fun day? My son hugged her. He absolutely loves her. She looked at me. He's doing so great. Real progress this week. I smiled back. Then I walked to my car and screamed into the steering wheel. For the next 2 weeks, I played the game, smiled at drop-off, made small talk at pickup, when in reality I dug. Yasmin O'Connor, 34, divorced, active on social media. I found the boyfriend first. Rory Mullins. 2 domestic violence charges. Hospitalized. His ex-wife broke her orbital bone. Miss O'Connor had posted photos of them at brunch 3 weeks ago. Heart emojis. My protector. Then the DUI 3 years ago. Hit a parked car, blew twice the legal limit. Mugshot still online. Then the MLM phase. She tried to sell weight loss shakes for 8 months. Company got shut down by the FTC. She lost $4,000. Then the GoFundMe. Struggling after an unexpected financial setback. The setback was a Nigerian prince scam. I sent $6,000 to a stranger. Then her affair. Screenshots from 3 years ago. Her and her husband's brother at a family reunion in a bathroom. I saved everything. Then I made my own post. Miss Yasmin O'Connor life choices. A report card. I ranked them 1 through 10 with comments. Number 1. Dating a convicted woman beater. Shows excellent judgment. Will definitely end well. No. 2. DUI. With property damage. Responsible and safe. Great role model for children. Number 3. Sending $6,000 to a Nigerian prince. Financially literate, very smart. All the way down. I posted it in 3 places. Her church's community page, her hometown's Facebook group, and after making a few fake profiles, the Teachers Who Need Wine group she loved so much. I slept better than I had in weeks. The next morning I pulled into the school parking lot. Oliver was in the back seat, singing to himself happy. I unbuckled him, grabbed his backpack, walked toward the entrance. That's when I saw her, Ms. O'Connor, standing by the front doors. Not smiling, not waving, just standing there. Arms crossed, face blotchy, eyes swollen. She saw me and started walking fast. Parents turned. Kids stopped. She got in my face. Close enough that I could smell the coffee on her breath. You ruined my life. My family saw that post. My church saw it. I got removed from the group. I got calls from people I haven't spoken to in years. I didn't move. My pastor's wife sent me a prayer request. A prayer request? I'm going to sue you. I'm going to. You ranked him. I interrupted her. She stopped a 7-year-old with Down syndrome. You called him a potato and posted it for other teachers to laugh at. Her mouth opened. Nothing came out. I ranked your choices. There were differences. Oliver didn't choose Down syndrome. You chose every single thing on my list. Parents were gathering now. Watching Miss O'Connor looked around. Saw the phones coming out. Saw the faces. Something snapped. She shoved me. I stumbled back. Caught myself on the railing. She lunged again. A dad grabbed her arm. She swung at him, missed. Swung again. Security came running. Grabbed her. She started crying. That's when one of the kids yelled out, "Your crying sounds ugly." Part 1. The zero tolerance policy. Your crying sounds ugly. The words hung in the crisp morning air like a guillotine blade. It was Jalen, number 4 on Yasmin's list, the boy she wanted to accommodate into a dumpster. He was holding his mother's hand, his expression deadpan, delivering the most devastating review of Yasmin O'Connor's life. Yasmin froze. Her hands, currently pinned behind her back by the school resource officer, went slack. The sobbing stopped, replaced by a guttural, animalistic sound of pure rage. "Get off me," she shrieked, thrashing against the guard. "She stalked me. She doxed me. That woman is dangerous." "Ma'am, you are the one who just assaulted a parent on school property," the officer said, his voice bored but firm. He clicked the handcuffs shut. I stood there, smoothing down the front of my sweater. My heart was hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird, but my face was stone. I looked at Oliver. He was clutching his backpack straps, looking from me to his teacher. "Mommy," he whispered. "Miss Yasmin is in timeout." I knelt down, ignoring the circle of parents holding up their iPhones, recording every second. "Yes, baby. Miss Yasmin is in a very long timeout. You're going to go with Mrs. Gable to the library today, okay?" As the police car pulled up, lights flashing but siren off, Principal Vance came waddling out of the building. He was a man who viewed any disruption to his day as a personal insult. He looked at Yasmin, shoved into the back of the cruiser, and then at me. "Mrs. Sterling," he said, his tone clipped. "My office. Now, I have to give a statement to the police first," I said calmly. "And I'll be calling my lawyer." "This is a misunderstanding," Vance hissed, stepping closer. "We can handle this internally." I pulled my phone out. I opened the screenshot of Yasmin's tier list. I shoved it under his nose. "Basically a potato," I read aloud. "Anchor around their necks. That is my son she is writing about, Principal Vance. And then she physically attacked me when I exposed her public record. There is no internally anymore. This is nuclear." By noon, the video of Yasmin shoving me, and Jalen's savage commentary, was trending on TikTok. The hashtag ugly crying teacher had 3 million views. But Yasmin O'Connor wasn't done. Narcissists never just go away. They double down. Part 2, the counterattack. 2 days later, I was served. It wasn't a peace offering. It was a lawsuit. Yasmin O'Connor vs. Elena Sterling. She was suing me for defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and cyberstalking. She was asking for $500,000 in damages. My husband, David, read the papers at the kitchen table, his jaw tight. "She physically assaulted you," David said, throwing the papers down. "The police charged her with battery. How does she have the nerve?" "Because she's cornered," I said, pouring coffee. "And she has Rory Mullins. #1 on my list of her bad choices. The boyfriend with the domestic violence record." That night, our mailbox was smashed. A baseball bat had taken the head off the wooden post. No note. Just shattered wood on the driveway. I called the police. They took a report, but without video evidence, they couldn't link it to Rory. "We need a Ring camera," David said, ordering one on Amazon immediately. The next morning, the narrative started to shift. A GoFundMe appeared. Justice for Yasmin. Help a dedicated teacher fight a cyberstalking bully. It raised $2,000 in 4 hours. The comments were infuriating. Parents these days are out of control. Everyone vents about their job. It was a private group. She shouldn't have shoved her, but doxing is wrong. My friend Denise called me. She sounded terrified. "Elena, she knows," Denise whispered. Yasmin posted in a backup group. "She said she knows who the mole is. She said she's going to make sure I never teach in this state again." "She can't do anything, Denise. She's suspended." "You don't understand," Denise cried. "She has dirt on everyone. She's been keeping files. If teachers vented about a kid, or admitted to being hungover, she screenshotted it. She's holding the whole faculty hostage. That's why nobody is speaking up against her." I felt a cold knot in my stomach. Yasmin wasn't just a bully, she was a predator. She had built a system of mutually assured destruction. "Then we don't need the teachers," I said. "We need the parents." Part 3, the war room. I turned my dining room into a command center. I reached out to every parent mentioned on that list. Sophie's mom, #1. The parents of the twins, Mia and Maya, #8. Jalen's dad, #4. When I showed Sophie's mom the post, where Yasmin had written Sophie could almost pass as normal if her face didn't look like that, the woman didn't scream. She went deadly quiet. "My daughter," she whispered, "made a card for that woman on Valentine's Day. She drew hearts." "We need everything," I told the group of 6 parents gathered in my living room. "Check your kids' IEPs. Check the progress reports. Check the timestamps." We started digging, and what we found was worse than mean comments. It was fraud. Jalen's dad found it first. She billed the district for one-on-one behavioral intervention for Jalen on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 1 to 2 p.m. I looked at my laptop. On Tuesdays and Thursdays from 1 to 2 p.m., Yasmin was active on the Teachers Who Need Wine Facebook group. Look at these timestamps. We cross-referenced everything. When she claimed she was doing sensory integration therapy with Oliver, she was actually posting memes about wine o'clock. When she claimed she was feeding Sophie, she was browsing Poshmark. But the smoking gun came from an unexpected source. A week into our investigation, I got an anonymous email. Subject line: receipts. Attached were photos of the classroom budget ledger. Yasmin had requested $3,000 for adaptive learning tablets and weighted blankets. The photos showed the classroom closet. There were no tablets. There were no blankets. There were, however, boxes of Skinny Miss weight loss shake powder, the MLM she had failed at. She had used the special education budget to buy inventory for her pyramid scheme. I forwarded the email to my lawyer, to the superintendent, and to the local news station that had covered the ugly crying story. Part 4, the school board meeting. The school board meeting was scheduled for a Tuesday night. It was supposed to be a standard budget review. Instead, it was a siege. The parking lot was full an hour early. News vans were set up on the lawn. Half the crowd wore shirts that said "Justice for Yasmin," mostly her family and a few misguided friends. The other half, my half, wore blue and yellow, the colors for Down syndrome awareness. We walked in. Yasmin was there. She was wearing a modest cardigan, her hair pulled back, looking like a fragile victim. Rory was sitting behind her, cracking his knuckles, glaring at David. Principal Vance tried to maintain order. "We will not be discussing personnel matters tonight," he announced, sweating. "We aren't discussing personnel," I said, stepping up to the microphone. "We are discussing theft of public funds." I projected the ledger photos onto the screen. "This is an invoice for 5 iPads for nonverbal students," I said. "This is a photo of Ms. O'Connor's Poshmark account, listing 5 brand new iPads for sale, 2 days after the invoice date." The room gasped. Yasmin's lawyer, a cheap suit guy who looked tired, leaned over and whispered something to her. Yasmin went pale. "This is irrelevant," Yasmin screamed, standing up. "She illegally accessed my private information. It's public record when you sell stolen school property on the internet, Yasmin." I shouted back. Then, Sophie's mom stood up. She didn't use a microphone. She didn't need one. "You mocked my daughter's face," she said, her voice shaking with a rage so pure it felt like heat radiating off her. "You took money meant to help her speak, and you bought diet shakes. You aren't a teacher. You are a monster." Then came the testimony from the aides. Denise had finally found her courage. She walked to the podium, avoiding Yasmin's death stare. "I was an aide in Ms. O'Connor's room," Denise said. "She told us that if we changed a diaper, we were enabling them. She let children sit in soiled clothes for hours because she said they needed to learn consequences. These are children with severe cognitive delays. They don't learn consequences from neglect. They just get rashes." The room erupted. Parents were screaming. The Justice for Yasmin supporters were quietly taking off their t-shirts and sliding them into their bags. Yasmin looked around. She saw her support evaporating. She saw the superintendent whispering furiously to the district attorney. She did the only thing she knew how to do. She played the victim. She collapsed. It was a theatrical faint, the back of her hand against her forehead, sinking to the carpet. Rory jumped up. "She's having a panic attack. You people are killing her. Call an ambulance," Principal Vance sighed, looking defeated. As they wheeled her out, I saw her open one eye to check if the cameras were filming. Part 5. The escalation. We thought it was over. The evidence was overwhelming. But a cornered animal bites. 3 nights later, I woke up to the smell of smoke. "David!" I screamed. Our front porch was on fire. David grabbed the extinguisher. I grabbed Oliver. We ran out the back door. The fire department arrived within minutes. The damage was contained to the porch and the front door, but the message was clear. The police found the gas can in the bushes. They pulled fingerprints. They didn't belong to Yasmin. They belonged to Rory. But Rory had an alibi. He was at a bar, on camera. "He hired someone," David said, pacing the hotel room we were staying in. "We need to end this, Elena, before someone gets killed." I was done playing defense. I knew Yasmin's weakness. It wasn't money. It wasn't her job. It was her ego. Her need to be adored. I went back to the Teachers Who Need Wine group. I was banned, but I had Denise's login. I posted the video of her faint at the board meeting. Then I posted the video of her selling the iPads. Then I posted the police report regarding the arson at my house, noting that Rory was a person of interest. But the final nail wasn't from me. It was from her ex-husband. He saw the news coverage. He reached out to me on Facebook. "She did this to me too," he wrote. "She ruined my credit, lied to the cops, and tried to frame me for hitting her. I have the audio recordings of her admitting she lied. Do you want them?" I didn't just want them. I needed them. I released the audio. In the clip, Yasmin's voice was clear, arrogant, and chilling. "Nobody will believe you, Mark. I'm the cute little teacher. You're the angry man. I can cry on cue. Watch me." That was it. The mask didn't just slip, it shattered. Part 6. The Judgment. The criminal trial for the assault and the theft happened 6 months later. Yasmin O'Connor walked into the courtroom looking defiant. She wore a cross necklace, a new accessory, and carried a Bible. But the DA was merciless. He laid out the timeline. The cruelty of the tier list. The calculated theft of resources. The coercion of the aides. Rory had flipped. Faced with arson charges and a third strike that would send him away for life, he cut a deal. He testified that Yasmin had asked him to scare me. She hadn't explicitly said burn the house down, but she had given him my address and told him to make her stop. Yasmin's defense was that she was suffering from compassion fatigue and burnout PTSD. The judge wasn't buying it. Compassion fatigue, the judge said in his sentencing remarks, does not cause one to steal iPads from nonverbal children. That is greed. Mocking disabled children is not a symptom of stress. It is a symptom of a character defect. Yasmin O'Connor was sentenced to 3 years in state prison for grand larceny and embezzlement, with a concurrent sentence for assault. She was permanently barred from holding a teaching license in any state. She was also ordered to pay restitution to the school district and damages to me. As the bailiff handcuffed her, she looked back at the gallery. She looked for Rory in jail. She looked for her Facebook friends gone. She looked at her parents, heads bowed in shame. Then she looked at me. I didn't smile. I didn't gloat. I just held up a photo of Oliver. "He's not a potato," I mouthed. "He's the boy who beat you." Part 7. The New Anchor. 1 year later. The school has a new principal. Vance took early retirement after the scandal. I walked Oliver to his classroom. The door was open. The new teacher, Mr. Henderson, was sitting on the floor. He was a big guy, an ex-football player with a gentle voice. He was holding a sensory tube, laughing as Jalen showed him how the lights changed colors. Sophie was there, working on a puzzle. Her mom waved at me from the hallway. Oliver let go of my hand and ran to Mr. Henderson. "Mr. H. Oliver yelled. Look, new shoes. Those are fast shoes, Oliver. Mr. Henderson beamed, high-fiving him. Are we going to race at recess? I stood in the doorway watching. There was no tier list on the wall. There were no hidden cameras needed. There was just a room full of kids who were safe, loved, and learning. I walked back to my car. I sat in the driver's seat. I pulled out my phone. I went to the Teachers Who Need Wine group. I was allowed back in now, as a sort of honorary member/watchdog. Someone had posted a meme about a difficult parent. It was funny. It was harmless venting. I scrolled down. A new post from a young teacher. I'm really struggling with a student who bites. I feel like I'm failing him. Does anyone have advice? The comments were flooding in. Not mocking. Not cruel. Try a chewy necklace. Check his triggers. Is it noise? Hang in there, you're doing great. The culture had changed. The rot had been cut out. I put the phone away. I drove home. When I picked Oliver up that afternoon, he handed me a piece of construction paper. It was a drawing. It was a stick figure with big hair, me, and a smaller stick figure holding hands. I made a list, Oliver said proudly. My heart stopped for a second. A list? Yeah. Mr. H helped me. He pointed to the paper. There was a crude number 1 written in crayon. Number 1, Oliver read. Mommy. I hugged him right there in the hallway, burying my face in his neck, inhaling the smell of crayons and playground dust. That's a good list, Ollie, I whispered, tears pricking my eyes, but they weren't ugly tears. That's the best list I've ever seen. The end.